It's refreshment time, folks.
I have to return some videotapes.
Are either one
Ooh, it's getting classic.
I don't watch movies.
Do you like
Scary movies.
You have a TV? No. I just like to read the TV guide. Read the TV guide.
Going old school.
Don't need a TV.
Books, records, films, these things matter. Call me shallow.
It's the fucking truth.
Over 1,600 titles, each for rent at just $2 the first night, and only...
Hey, Willie! Take out your Willie!
I ain't afraid of no ghosts.
Finish him.
I don't watch TV.
Yeah, but you are aware that there's an invention called television, and on this invention they show shows, right?
Tonight on Six Ed World.
Okay, I'm on channels 18, 24, 63, 109, 87, and the Weather Channel.
Welcome to the Frog Brothers podcast with your hosts, Justin and Alec.
I'm Jeff Goldblum, your co-host, and with me is Alec.
Yeah, someone's randomly decided to call me, and my
That was perfect timing.
voice was still on, so I randomly did hear like Jeff Goldblum laughing, and was like, "What the
I
fuck?"
thought you added that to the intro.
I did too for a minute, and I was like, "Wait a second,
When did we do this?
I don't remember.
did Stone Alec do something that I don't remember?"
It's like leaving yourself a letter. Like sober Alec to drunk Alec, or drunk Alec to sober Alec.
myself a letter.
And I'm not really Jeff Goldblum, so if you believe that, I'm sorry, but you should have your hearing checked. I'm Justin, and I'm an asshole. And with me is my asshole brother, and our piece of shit producer, errand boy, intern, fluffer, M2CA man, Nick.
I'm Nick, and I like to party.
That's the truth.
Yeah, we've seen Hot Rod. We get you.
Yeah, we know.
What's
we know
that?
what you like to do.
What's that? What's that?
If you're not referencing Hot Rod, then you're an extremely lame person. We're just gonna start calling you
I happen to know
Brisket
for a
when you
fact
say
that
lame
don't
shit.
Party.
All right, Brisket.
Yeah, Brisket. Oh, that's his new nickname because he looks just enough like the guy in Mercy Christmas that we can call him Brisket.
Just the fact that he's a white guy with a shaved head.
Yep, that's all that matters.
Nope.
Do you want a Trisket with your brisket?
Brisket says no.
If you feed me brisket, you can call me Brisket. But that would go against your principles.
All right, my cock's also named Brisket.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got a Sharpie there and he's gonna write his name on there for you.
yeah.
For brisket, please warm before consuming.
There's so many jokes about putting our meat in your mouth and other things. We're gonna skip right over those.
No, I'm not gonna give you meat because I don't want you to die just yet. So, but I will feed you more delicious vegan chili and.
You said digest yet?
Die just yet, but digest yet too. What did I say? Digest
Slowly
yet?
be digested over 1,000 years.
Is it 1,000 years?
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah,
I can't
the
remember.
1,000 years.
The Sarlacc. When's your cooking video going to come out, Justin?
When's my cooking video gonna come out? That's gonna be on my OnlyFans because
Not
I'm
your
gonna.
cucking video, your cooking video.
Well, we've done cucking videos too. I
thought
mean,
he
I
said
can't
cooking.
help it that people want me to come over and take care of their wife or girlfriend because they
reminds
can't
me-
get the job done.
I drove by a church.
People pay good money for that.
I drove by a church today called Columbia. What was it?
Did they have
It was-
cocaine?
The initials was CUCC, and they went really big. It was
Yeah.
Columbia. I don't know. Something.
You're trying to make a joke now and you just got nothing.
No, I can't remember what the initials was, but it said cuck really big. I was like, Jesus.
It calls to you.
It calls to you. Oh, God. We need to quote more random shit that's new like that. It's
Yes.
ridiculous. I instantly knew what it was from because it's in the fucking trailers, and you see the trailers a million
Oh,
times.
yeah. Anytime you can quote a trailer, people just, like, eat that up. They're like a dog getting a bowl of water on a hot day. Like,
You could easily make jokes about how Nick's mom gave us AIDS, and then my father had it, my sister had it, and I have it. Now you have that AIDS too. Triumphant music. The rise of AIDS Walker.
well, that's a little weird. But, you know, hey, speaking of Skywalkers.
Walkers.
Skywalker, Texas Ranger.
All right.
That's a mashup I want to see. Mark Hamill fighting Chuck Norris.
Didn't I see that they got
Chuck Norris is overrated for me.
They got a remake series of that coming. I can't remember who the actor is.
You have an awful lot of just kind of like vague things that flow through your mind that you
I'm
never
pretty sure
really
I heard
know.
that too on like Kevin Smith's podcast, but who really cares?
That show went like 15 years and shouldn't have in the first place.
Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, it's the guy from Supernatural, Jared Padalecki.
Oh, that's a garbage show too. Sorry if you're a fan of that. If you're a fucking preteen girl, maybe it's okay.
I've only seen bits of it when some girl was watching it or something.
Yeah. And you were like, all right, now stop watching.
No, but I was like, is it good? Because it's about ghosts and stuff. But I don't know. I don't think I'd
There's
like
literally like Jesus fights in it. It's supernatural. It's literally like...
Well, it stars two heartthrob guys. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm
because
gonna get
it's a
into that.
show that's like Riverdale, which is basically Twin Peaks for tweens.
But I can't imagine that it stayed, even if it was good, that it stayed good for 11 seasons or however long.
There's
it was
people
on.
that live and die by that show, and like I tried watching the first couple episodes, and like the CGI fires and stuff in it were so bad, and I was just like,
yeah, well, shows just had shit
I can't do
budgets,
this. I just can't do it.
Here's where it came from, I think. You take a show like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which, to be fair, I have not watched a lot of. I've watched maybe 1 or 2 episodes.
I watched the first season when it first came out. So
I like the movie.
14.
Yeah, I love the movie,
but
but
I don't know. I don't know
much.
much about the show. Saying that, I know that Angel progressed that shit. You know, it was like a spinoff or whatever. I think that's definitely where this vibe came from. Which is, it's basically a show for fucking teenagers. It's like the Scream and Teen Wolf shows that MTV did, and the CW is doing right now with the Sabrina on Netflix and the fucking Riverdale shit, which is literally just fucking huge Twin Peaks ripoff. Like, I mean, I could go into all of that, but I'm sure you don't care because you're not as invested in Twin Peaks as me. And this show literally has, like, if you look at the fucking logo, it looks like that image of Twin Peaks with the sign that says, "Welcome to Twin Peaks." It has an actress from Twin Peaks. It takes place at a high school where there's murders and people are fucking.
I'll be watching Twin Peaks for the first time here in a week or 2.
Well, welcome to the modern
So
age.
we'll see. I'm getting around to it.
Yeah. I think if you like Lost, you'll like Twin Peaks. They're in a weird league of, as long as you're satisfied with Lost, because a lot of it makes no fucking sense, you'll be satisfied with Twin Peaks.
All but the last season, yeah.
Yeah, but people feel that way somewhat about season 2 of Twin Peaks because of different reasons, which you'll find out.
Yeah, you just need to get there before we can discuss that.
No spoilers.
But I love all of the seasons of Twin Peaks, even with their flaws and shit. I just find it fascinating, everything, so what are you going to do?
It's just unique storytelling is what it is, like, right? That doesn't have to be completely 100% linear and digestible. It can just do what the fuck it wants sometimes, which turns a lot of people off to a show like that. And
Yeah.
I get it, but you got to really have an open mind for that to really enjoy it.
David Lynch is one of those people that does a lot of abstract filmmaking.
This is true.
Sometimes it's not about the story, it's about how the visuals and the emotions that you're seeing currently make you feel and shit. So it's very bizarre and weird, but I love it. So hey, yeah. We're eventually going to do an episode by episode of Twin Peaks, so we'll get around to that. Maybe February or something we'll start doing that. But we might do 2 episodes at a time or something to get through it. We'll see what happens.
Yep. And I think we just need to kind of finish up Extreme Ghostbusters at some point.
We're not too far off. Yeah, I think we'll do that this month. Well, I mean, pick back up.
How many more do we have to go?
We only have 75 more to go. I don't know.
You were in the 30s, I think, weren't you?
Somewhere in the teens.
I don't
You're just setting me up. I can't help it.
No, I don't think we quite made it there. I think we're somewhere in the 20s, but I think there's only 38 or 39 episodes, so.
There's 42 episodes, I believe.
Okay. Well, we might just need to double down and do 2 a week. I'd be okay with that.
That'd be a good idea.
Or just do...
Because they're only 20-minute episodes, so...
Yeah.
Yeah, just to get through them. That way we can move on.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to drag that out any longer than we have. I mean, we took a nice pause just because of everything else going on, trying to throw in some holiday specials and some other content out there.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of other content, these old motherfuckers have a TikTok.
You bitches like TikTok?
Alec has been the fucking social media champion of the year, being a weird motherfucking person on there, which is not to say that He's not weird anyway, but his TikTok's going to be some glorious shit on there. So I'll be appearing as well, too. Like, he had one of me doing dishes yesterday, so trying to fucking wife me up and shit.
Yeah, I did a couple duets, you know. Still getting a hang of the old TikTok. You know, I turn 30 in about a month, so things are getting pretty weird. I feel like one of those me-seeks. It's just like, this is fucking weird. I've never existed this long before. Because I haven't.
Yeah, I know.
Are you getting ear hairs?
Yeah. Start to grow hair in really weird places.
Man.
Yeah, that's no joke, isn't it? My kids, man, the other day, like, Nate looked up my nose and he's like, you got hair in your nose. He's like, you need to get that out of there. And I'm like, thanks, Broseph. That's great. Thanks for noticing. Your little lights there, not twinkling.
Thanks, as if I wasn't insecure enough.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just a garbage, ugly human. And thanks for pointing out my flaws.
What's a flaw?
My existence?
Yeah. So the NECA dock is apparently shipped this week, as well as the Toonie Terrors, I believe, Series 5, which includes Ghostface and the Bloody Michael Myers and Bloody Ash. I still haven't seen Series 4 in stores, so, you know.
Yeah, I think Missouri gets them later.
Well, I lived in Mississippi before, and we got shit like 3 years after you guys.
Yeah, it'd usually be a month or two after we had
Enjoy
something
that.
here that I'd say, hey, I found something, and Alec would be like, oh, yeah, that's finally here now. There'd be legit times where it'd be easier for me to fucking find it and buy it and then even mail it than it would be for him to wait just to know he can get it.
Yeah.
So
We did that with the RGB figures because, well, now you can find them everywhere, but I didn't know if it was going to be like that. I didn't know how many more they were going to re-release of this shit, so I was like, I have to get this. And I'm glad I got them now because the cards backs are all different and shit. There was a big weird thing with that everybody knows about, so.
Yep, and the big piece is like all the 4 busters were really easy to find over the holiday season. Like the last month and a half, they'd been easier to find than they had been all year.
Yeah.
Which is good. Hopefully they sold a lot of additional copies just for the nostalgia factor, right? If you're going through the aisle and you're trying to find out toys and you're like, oh, need to get that for the wife or husband or friend, family member, whoever else, right? Nostalgia.
You think they'll do another release when the movie gets closer?
I think they're going to expand the toy line. Based on the Hasbro behind-the-scenes video, they showed the Slimer with the Proton Pack being rebuilt, and that was a new model of it. So I think they're going to expand that.
I think they might, yes. I hope they also do more Kenner re-releases. And what I think they're going to do is do smaller amounts. And I would guess, if I had to guess, they're going to re-release an Ecto one. They're going to re-release that one. If I had to guess.
Well, they sold the Afterlife ones pretty quick, so.
Well, that was just the initial stock, though. That was just the.
We'll still be able to get that at Target.
No, I know, but they see that sells well, so yeah.
Yeah, the only argument you have to the Ecto 1 from Kenner Classics being re-released there would be whether or not you're going to have. I mean, the market for it's going to be great because anyone would buy it, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're not going to do as many as they're doing of these things, I don't think. But I think they would be dumb not to, because if you put that back out, imagine if they put that out now. That would probably make more people want to buy the Busters too.
Yeah, but at the same time, they're going to have the other series. They've already got the Ecto announced, so regardless, like the RGB figures are going to fit in that.
They still have the figures also.
Yes.
So currently there are 3 versions of Peter Venkman they've announced.
Oh, they also have the...
the tall ones.
The tall versions,
So that's 4.
Yep.
So it's not unreasonable to say that they would do another vehicle, especially if it was just the Kenner Ecto one, because it doesn't even have lights or sounds or anything. It's just a simple little fucking thing. The wheels don't even rotate, do they? Shit.
I think they did.
On what?
The Kenner Ecto.
Yeah, you could roll it, I think.
Maybe that's just what I read or something.
It all rolled. Yeah, I had that. That was
well, it had no lights or sounds, so there's no reason it can't be a $20 little fucking
they should
hunk
put
of plastic.
The Ecto 1A stickers in there with it, too. Since
you can do whichever one you want. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Because there was no physical difference, right?
No, even the mold on the door was molded for the sticker for GB1, and they didn't replace the door
All that
mold.
is see how cheap that is? I
Even
would
when
buy
I was
2
a
of
kid,
those.
I was like, that's cheap.
I'd buy 3 of them if they were $25. One to just keep in the box, one to Ecto, one to Ecto 1A.
Yeah. Yeah, but how much would they be now?
That's what I'm saying. Without the licensed sounds, you could still do it for, I think, $25 is reasonable.
I think if the figures were $15, that's going to be a $50 item.
That's what I was thinking.
I don't know about that. I wouldn't buy that for $50 without lights or sounds. Sorry.
Well,
Straight up.
That's what they're going to be charging for it. I mean, the poppers were $40, right?
No, they're $20.
Were those only 20? The ghost popper?
Yeah, that's why.
So those should be shipping here
worked.
in January, and I've already seen the Italian Ghostbusters
I will just make another point. The fucking other Ecto, the Afterlife Ecto is $50. They could not do a re-release of the other Ecto for $50 also, with the same style. They couldn't. Without they just couldn't do that. I'd say at most you could do 35 or 40, and that's if they were just being pricks.
It'll be less than the plasma anyway.
Well, you would think.
You're thinking, yeah.
But that's also another thing. Is like I've seen people complaining about the taller figures. They're like what? They're not quite a foot tall, but they're like those are like at the $10 price point. I think for most of the Marvel ones, I've got a Captain America and Spider-Man one that
I don't know why those get so much hate. To be perfectly honest, I think they're perfectly fine for display pieces.
Well,
and it's like they think that they're
you got to realize the people that are complaining about this. Those ones are intended for children. They are less detailed. They're basic.
They have 4 points of articulation usually, maybe 5 if they have the head movement. I don't know if they do or not. Usually, they have. This is all. They just go straight up and down or whatever, which is like that's fine because of what it is for a $10 little. Basically, it's. I don't know. It's fine with me.
You just see adult collectors being like, they're trying to nickel and dime me for everything. I don't know why they got to release all this. You're like, oh, have you never looked at being a Marvel collector or a DC collector where they do all this? Like, there's a price point for every style of kid, family, collector, whatever your thing is, they're going to have a product for you. You don't have to buy every single one of them. Just because it has a Ghostbusters logo on it doesn't mean you need to buy it. That being said,
I will buy those.
Go for it. I mean, I got the kids. I'll see what they want, but I think they'd rather have the role-playing stuff,
I'm going to buy
and everything else.
Almost everything I possibly can that comes out Ghostbusters Afterlife.
So the Italian Ghostbusters have shown that they've got their Plasma Series Ecto 1A, or Ecto from Afterlife out. So seen some unboxing photo of that, or pictures anyway. So that's supposed to ship in January, and then obviously the Ghost Poppers are supposed to start shipping in January too. So we've got some good stuff on the way. So expect some unboxing videos, releases once we get those in the mail. That'll be interesting because Alec bought that dart gun we did on some of our SpectreVision videos, and my kids were playing with that, and I'm like, okay. They like that, so having softer darts to have shot at you will be much better than the...
I actually thought about getting your kids some Nerf guns for Christmas, but I didn't. Because I was like, I don't know how Becky feels about guns and shit like that. And it's even though it's a Nerf gun and shit like that, I don't know how everything would go.
I mean,
so
I had a bunch of those. I don't think it's a big deal, but yeah, at the same time, right?
Well, I didn't feel like it was worth me messing with it for, so.
Yeah. No.
They got a video game, and that'll work out just fine.
Yeah. Which works out because we can play the game, too. That was a good call.
Yeah.
Alec,
Paw Patrol?
No, we played that, though, and that's actually a much better game than I thought it would be for a 3-year-old to be playing, so.
Cool.
If you're looking for a children's game for youngsters.
Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol.
Paw Patrol's canceled because there's a police dog.
Yeah, I know. It's like, okay, people.
No, that's just a meme, I think.
I know. People are fucking going crazy with every little thing. It's like
funny.
It's not all like black or white. There's many subtles.
Many subtle layers.
Yes.
Like your laundry.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Exactly. Well, there's a lot of Siths on the internet, I'll tell you that. Not much else really in toy news besides all this shit getting ready to release. Hopefully you guys got some amazing cool shit for Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever else you celebrate. I'm not a Christian. I celebrate Christmas because it's convenient.
I got myself
People understand it. It's a time for me to be nice
closer
and buy
to,
cool shit.
more like nothing, but, Christmas is really a pagan holiday, and then it goes back even to other weird shit. There's a whole bunch of weird shit that people are just forced into.
If we just called it the winter
shitstorm.
solstice holiday or the Yule holiday or whatever else, like people start it confuses them. They get uncomfortable. So I just like being nice and getting shit for people I like. So it's a convenient time to do it when everyone else is. Works out. So we watched a couple of amazing flicks this week.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about the film Ice Harvest.
From 2005?
Theme music for Another Man's Garbage here.
Another man's garbage is another man's gold. We all run a snatch a horse, just wait till you get old. Another man's garbage is another man's treasure. I know that you will hate it, and that fact gives me pleasure.
Another man's garbage is another man's asshole. I will stuff my dick in it, and he will scream, oh ho.
Well, we all know Nick likes to gape himself, which is kind of weird when he starts using glass pieces to do that. But the Ice Harvest...
That's an interesting use for lightsabers, for sure.
It's weird. It's real weird, because especially when he sends the videos, like when you're trying to eat lunch at work,
it's like you go over to his house and you just like, you start messing with the toy lightsabers he has, and you're like, why does this smell weird?
What are those?
Those are children's toys, Nick. You can't put them in your butt.
No, are they lightsabers?
They're an off-brand light swords.
Oh.
Yeah, like I had a white one for my Darth Vader costume when I was a kid because my parents didn't want to buy me the Darth Vader lightsaber.
Yeah, they bought you like the $3 flashlight version at the
I was like, they
Halloween
could have
shop.
even spray painted it or something, you know what I mean? Come on.
Paint, yeah.
Looking back, that triggers me. Mom, I was Darth Vader with a lightsaber. That's like cutting John Holmes' dick off.
have him be an adult actor.
Exactly.
Like, what's he doing? He's literally just delivering pizza, nothing else.
Yeah. Nope. He might fix your pool, he might fix your cable, but he has no penis. That's all it is. So this movie's from 2005. Has a 47% on the old Rotten Tomatoes.
Rotten Maters.
It was directed by the one and only Harold Ramis.
Yes.
A black comedy starring Billy Bob Thornton and John Cusack, amongst others.
Others like Oliver Platt, Randy Quaid, Connie Nelson.
So this is actually a pretty good movie. It's a dark comedy, so it's not your traditional laugh out loud thing. There's a few pacing issues in here, and it feels like they could have extended the movie a little bit just to explain a few more things going on in there. But overall, I hadn't seen this in probably a decade, and I really enjoyed watching it again. So it's one of those I want to revisit a little bit more often now.
Yeah, it's joined my Christmas movie list the last few years, so it's kind of why I threw it on here, because it's one of those alternative Christmas movies, because it's not really a Christmas movie. It doesn't have to be on Christmas. They could have had this be a different night of the year, and it would have worked for the plot still, but there were elements in there that are still Christmassy, and it obviously takes place Christmas Eve, so
yeah,
there's Christmas
Eve
music and vibes throughout the whole thing.
Yep, Christmas music, Christmas vibes. Like at one point, John Cusack's character is buying stocking stuffers from the gas station to put under the tree, and like the clerk even makes fun of him. He's like, "Oh, big spender,"
and he says, "Do you have kids?" And he says, "No," and he says, "Then shut the fuck up."
Yeah, which is pretty good. See, that was that part of the story is fairly underdeveloped, like showing like why he was so estranged from his children and stuff. I think that could have.
It was done more at the beginning of the movie, and I don't think we were paying as much of attention. Because at the beginning of the movie, it does show that, like, Oliver Platt is the guy that's fucking his wife now.
Yeah, which is funny because they're, like, friends.
Yeah. And, like, he's married to his ex-wife now.
And Oliver Platt's character, his name's Pete, is actually one of the funniest characters in this movie. Especially the comedy relief. Like, most of the notes I wrote while watching this, like, was when he goes to see the family and, like, obviously, Charlie is John Cusack's character's name. So Charlie goes there and like sees the kids, and then Pete has a fucking flip out and like rips the turkey leg off of there and like yells at, is that his dad or is that his father-in-law that he's yelling at about all of them?
I can't even tell.
I think that's the mutual girlfriend's dad.
Okay, so that's
or
his father.
Wife's dad. Or
and so he's yelling at him basically. He's like, that's no way to act on Christmas. And he's like, look, you have no problem taking all my money for your fucking hip replacement, for all this other shit. And I'm like, God damn, like that's some real shit. Like to me, that was one of my favorite parts, because if you've ever had any kind of fucking turmoil or trauma or drama around your fucking family around the holidays, God damn, like that was like it. And you're like, oh, I wish I could call people out in real life like that. But I also wish I wasn't in situations where I had to.
Yeah.
So his character was amazing when he's so drunk and just fucking rips that turkey leg off and just starts eating it, and then fucking like when they leave and he just fucking chucks it back at the house. And the stupid shit that Pete does throughout that movie really just kind of helps lighten the mood of the dark tone going on.
Like when they were at the bar and he just kept trying to piss off that dude by hitting on the bartender.
Oh,
That was her boyfriend sitting there.
Excuse me, young man. If you do not get laid tonight, it is because you are not trying.
Fucking drags him out and fucking kicks him in the nuts.
And I love how my favorite part of that whole bit is just John Cusack reacting like, I mean, you deserve this. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, which is how a good friend should be like, you know, because you're like...
Well, the guy didn't kick the shit out of him. He did just drag him out. So it's well, you kind of deserve to be dragged out of
He
here.
fucking kicked him really hard right in the nuts.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, that's because after he dragged him out, he ran his fucking mouth again. Like, so some of that felt like really true to real life situations, right? Like, not necessarily over the top, but just people. And Pete obviously was a really good drunk, you know, so.
This definitely had, like, I can tell whoever was, well, it's based on a book, first of all, which I don't know how the book is, but this gives me, like, somebody wanted to do a Coen Brothers movie, but they weren't the Coen Brothers vibes. Like Fargo, you know, Big Lebowski to some degree, stuff like that. Crime comedies. I mean, I guess that's a fucking genre, you know, and it's not like I'm saying the Coen Brothers own that, but it definitely has those kind of vibes with, like, those realistic situations, like where they're driving and Billy Bob keeps talking shit to the guy that's fucking trapped in the trunk.
Oh, yeah.
And then he's trying to convince Charlie that he's going to kill him too, and then Charlie realizes, oh shit, he's actually right. He is going to kill me.
Yeah. Yeah, that works out really well. And then, man, the comedy in this kind of comes and goes, right? And one of the biggest criticisms I've seen from this is like people thought it should be funnier, which I don't necessarily agree with. I think there's just a few tempo things that kind of offset that, right? It's really funny for what it is, especially if you have a dark sense of humor. If you go into this movie and you're not used to this kind of stuff, you're not going to enjoy it.
Right.
It's not going to be fun for you, but...
It's definitely comedy that is more of like Tarantino-style comedy and Coen Brothers, like I was saying before. Like that sort of like, you have to be able to laugh at violence and weird fucked up shit like that. You have to be able to laugh at the guy who's locked in the trunk.
And I feel like had they really pushed the issue much more, like it would have just been compared too much to a Coen Brothers film, right? So I think Harold Ramis knew what he was doing by kind of doing it this way, right?
I want to say that Justin's biggest laugh in this, that got the biggest reaction out of Justin, was one of the darkest little pieces of the movie where Billy Bob he's like, I can't swim, Charlie. And then Charlie fucking's like, oh, I couldn't let you go alone. And he pushes his wife's dead body on top of him.
Oh, God, yeah, that was fucking cracking me up. He's like, I can't let you die alone. Which this is after, like, Billy Bob Thornton's character was named Vic. And so Vic, with the other mobster, basically is like, I was never really sentimentally attached to my wife anyway. So, like, you see her, like, leaning over Christmas presents with a fucking bullet hole blowing her brains out. And then Charlie comes in. He's like, what the hell? You know, he thinks Vic's dead at that point, too, which is a little earlier on. So there's a lot of good comedy pieces in this. And then just some of the pacing stuff. It's fun.
I mean, there's definitely, it's not a perfect movie, but I'd like it still, so I can get past the things that are not great about it. So
I felt like he would have checked for the money after Vic said that it's not in the car before he dumped his wife on him, because then he goes back and checks for the money and he's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But the wife drowned him at that point. So
yeah, but that's all based on the book to some degree, so you probably have a little bit more insight to compare it to when you have something like that, right? When you're editing a movie, you really have to cut out things that contextually could slow down the pacing of the story significantly. So there could have been a flashback in there, there could have been other things going on, there could be so many other things in there. Without having read the book, I can't tell you, but I know that it makes a lot more sense of those little things that you're like, why the hell did they do that decision? So I love when there's stuff in the trunk of in the car they're trying to stuff it into a Lincoln and it won't fit. And so they put it in the Mercedes and he says, Jesus Christ, Charlie, you're right. This thing is spacious, when they fucking stuff this giant ass trunk into the back of this Mercedes instead.
He's like, you've been going on all night about how this thing's so damn spacious or whatever.
Sound like a fucking car salesman. It's amazing. Like that was like a really humorous thing. And they're like, because that's the kind of shit people are really going to say we're in those situations, right? It's going to be humorous.
Sounded like something a dad would say for sure.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like two middle-aged white guys like going at it in the garage, and you're like, yep, that sounds about right. Oh, and then he shoots at Charlie and tells him "fuck you," and then he's apologizing while he's down in the ice water, and he's like, "Nope, well, I didn't mean it. I won't shoot anymore," and throws the gun. The thing is, though, it's like I realize that water's that cold, but he didn't even like try to swim to the edge, so. Like there's a chance you could have gotten yourself out of that.
At one point he said he can't pull himself up because he got shot in the stomach. I mean, that would be probably pretty difficult.
It's fight or flight, man.
Yeah, I mean, I would still be trying.
I've seen some people do
I know, but at least that was kind of
he didn't even try, though.
I know. I was thinking the same thing.
I mean, and like I said, again, the book could have more context around like what
and one
happened.
time a guy got a rock stuck on his hand and he cut his hand off and then left.
Yeah, one time Luke Skywalker was fighting Darth Vader, got his hand chopped off, but he still fucking managed to live, so fuck you.
It's because
Quit making excuses.
A spaceship flew in and saved him, though.
That's not the story I'm talking about. I'm talking about a different time.
Yeah.
Oh, so Randy Quaid is a mobster. He's pretty good in there, too. I like the ending, how, like, you know, this other lady's like basically two-timing Vic and Charlie and essentially is going to kill them all off. Like everyone that's wanting to get this $2 million is like willing to fucking cutthroat kill the other person for it so they can just take it and run.
But Charlie is not a fool.
No, he's not an idiot, and he's pretty fucking observant. I love it when he's with the, what's the lady's name that was the strip club manager? Because I didn't write down her.
The main lady?
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember her name. The actress is Connie Nelson.
Okay.
I wrote that down.
Yeah, so as Connie is like basically getting ready and, you know, after Vic's dead, you know, she's obviously got plans to run off with Vic with the money. Now, I'm assuming to kill Vic too. You don't really get into that, but obviously the way she's behaving, that's her game plan. So then Charlie finds the fucking bag of money that's missing and sees it in her closet just because he's sitting there, and so he's just being observant. So kind of shows you his character's intelligence level, which, you know, he's kind of very observant. For a John Cusack film, his dialogue is pretty subdued in this compared to other movies. You know, he usually talks a lot, but in this he's observing a lot, which I think works well for his character in there.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting that cop to have a bigger role in how it ended, but he just kind of pops in and gets shot right in the head.
Yeah. What's my name?
Oh, yeah, the mobster cop that's in there the whole time keeps telling him,
Officer Tyler? Taylor.
Okay, what's going on?
Right, like he's, hey, what's going on? There's clearly a fucked up situation going on.
Was that the point, though? That, like, it was like, made you think it was foreshadowing and he was going to have a big part, and then he just shows up.
I didn't necessarily think it was going to be that big of a part, but I didn't know. I don't remember. I've seen this movie like the last 2 Christmases, and then maybe once before that years ago, but it's been a while.
Which is interesting, considering how much he bulked up from Vegas Vacation to like what you see in here. Because in here he looks like he's just bulked up a lot, and then to see him be such an asshole, you're like, oh, okay, he can't.
Oh yeah,
be.
Look at him now.
Yeah,
you seen him? Jesus, fuck.
Yeah, so he's
When was Vegas? 97?
Yeah, I think so.
So 8 years.
But he does come across as pretty intimidating in there. Like,
Yeah.
I think he does a good job, and I love the buckshot that they have all over his face, or the bird shot. Like, looks good.
Yeah.
Like, he's just fucking pissed. Like, you didn't kill him, and then he gets up and gets fucking stabbed in the foot, which a lot of the shit in this that looks extremely painful, like, you know, it's well done because it's like a little bit of body. It's like almost like some horror movie type stuff with some of the body shit going on in there.
Did that go through his foot and the floor?
I think so.
He was like
Yeah,
stuck to the fucking floor.
I think that's why he was fighting it so hard, because it took him a minute to
He
work
didn't
up
move
the
his foot
courage
that
to
whole
pull
time,
it up.
so I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
Yeah.
That's an ouchie.
Yeah, that would hurt. But that's
one of the places I wouldn't want to get stabbed.
That's The Ice Harvest. So if you haven't seen it and you're a Harold Ramis fan, highly recommend it. Billy Bob Thornton fan, whatever. John Cusack fan, definitely check it out. It's a little different than what you're used to out of him normally, but it's a really good role.
Not necessarily, I don't think. If you like Grosse Point Blank, this is right up your alley.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
But just pay attention to the subtleties he's doing between like his normal dialogue, really dialogue-driven character acting versus this, where he's he's doing a lot more observing and shit that I really appreciated. Just seeing somebody like that where, he can talk really fast and do a lot of dialogue, and you hear him in our intro, so
yeah,
we're John Cusack fans.
I'm looking forward to Grosse Point Blank.
Fucking love that movie.
Mm-hmm. High Fidelity.
I'll be coming around the mountain when I come. I'll be coming around the mountain when I come. I'll be blowing your fucking brains out. I'll be whacking your fucking head off. I'll be coming around the mountain when I come. Anytime you can sing with Dan Aykroyd as a hitman, it's a good day.
You want to do the top 5?
Let's jump into the top five, motherfuckers.
Top 5. 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 Top 5.
This is top
Mop 5. Mop 5. Mop up. Grab a bucket and a mop for this wet ass back pussy.
So this week, top 5 is Drew Barrymore films.
Drew Barrymore?
This is really 1990s, 2000s vibes for us this week, so it's kind of a... we like to go to the 80s a lot. We travel to the 80s frequently.
Yeah, but I like to travel to the 90s just as much as the 80s, so...
So...
Where would we be without Jurassic Park and Independence Day?
Fuck, I know, right? We'd be lost, that's for sure.
Yeah, we would be Jurassic Park Lost World. Lost World Jurassic Park, I guess, technically.
I'd be a T-Rex in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with that, actually.
You'd be Vince Vaughn.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that, too. He's underrated in that movie. People don't like him, but I like him.
Yeah.
He's out there setting dinosaurs free.
He's like,
doing
fuck
some good
this.
shit.
He's like a dinosaur anarchist. Shit rules. Anyway, since this was my idea, I'm not going first. Who's going first on this? Which punk bitch? You're both looking at shit on your phones. What's going on here?
Justin can go first.
My number 5, Drew Barrymore film, and thanks for asking, by the way.
I did ask like 4 times.
Is Whip It by Elliot Page is in there. So congrats to Elliot for coming out and doing what he feels is right for himself. I'm pretty proud of that. I like it when people are comfortable to be themselves. So to me, that's a highlight for 2020 for people, being able to be who they are and know. But Drew Barrymore is in that, and she directed it. So that's a good film. If you haven't reviewed that lately, check it out, because it's an
indie film, so it kind of went under the mainstream radars, but
yes,
I definitely watched it and liked it. It's on my honorable mentions, just because she's not in a whole lot of it. She's not the main focus, but since she directed it, it's definitely on my honorable mentions.
Yeah, no, I have that on there because I just thought her character helped carry the story along well enough that I'd include it. So, Nick, what's your number 5?
I put Donnie Darko, and I like it more than a number 5 movie, but it's just her amount of involvement as a character.
I will second that. That's also my number 5.
But she also had a producer's role.
It's only my number 5 because, again, like you said, she's not
got a
the main actress
part
in it.
as a teacher.
She's
not
good
that
in
memorable.
it, though.
Yeah.
My list will be a little controversial then, based on your feedback, but I do what I want.
Mine's going to be controversial as fuck. When you hear my number, some of these numbers, you're going to be like, what the fuck is this?
All right.
So that was my number 5 also, Donnie Darko. What's your number 4?
My number 4 is Fever Pitch.
Is that with Jimmy Fallon?
Yep, it's a baseball movie. I'm not a huge Jimmy Fallon
That wasn't even on
fan.
your sports list movie.
I know. For a reason. I'm talking Drew Barrymore here.
You think that's the best that Drew Barrymore has to offer, though?
Her character...
I mean, go ahead. Give me your reasons.
Well, her character in that movie is much better than Jimmy Fallon's in there. Like, he's kind of an annoying dickhead in that movie, but...
And
like...
everything.
Yeah, in real life.
Pretty much, yeah. Anyone that fucking has the
I don't say I hate the guy. I just don't like him. I find him annoying. So, hey, there you go.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, but no, I thought she had a good role in there. Like, she's memorable and stuff, and it's obviously a baseball movie. I enjoy baseball. So there's a few elements in there that work for me to put that on my list. What's your number 4?
I put E.T.
The Extraterrestrial?
She's not she's a little girl in that, and not like a huge... she's there, but I don't know.
Yeah. You just had to put E.T. in there.
Yeah, it's a required.
So my number 4 is again only my number 4 because she's not in it for very much, but it is fucking iconic as shit. Is her role in Scream. So that's my number 4. I love Scream.
She had a small part, but an important
Exactly.
part. Yeah.
Don't act like you were talking shit on the movie Scream a minute ago, Nick, so you can eat a bag of chocolate.
My feelings of Scream is public knowledge.
Butthole-shaped chocolates.
We're not going to get into that because you just don't even try to trigger me. That's one of the best horror movies ever made.
Yeah, so my number 3 is Scream. 1996, she plays Casey. Like, that's such an important part of the opening of that movie. Without her character, she's able to deliver the lines. She's utterly fucking terrified of what's going on, but she's also funny and flirtatious in there, right? So you really get... She just does a great job in that role. So even though it's a small role, that movie would not be what it is without her.
She got tricked by a trick question.
Your mom's a trick.
It's not exactly a trick question.
Yes, it is. How is that not a trick question? That's what a trick question is.
Okay.
Isn't
Trick
it?
Question, I don't know. It sounds more like a trick. That's just a question. It's just...
But it's a trick because...
It's an easily
your mind-
misconcepted.
Yes.
Your mind, if you're retarded and don't know the movies...
Yeah, which most people don't.
Well, then it's not a trick question. It's just a you lack the knowledge
consider it a
question.
trick question.
No, it's a fair question.
I didn't say
she
it wasn't
deserved
fair.
to die.
I
She
didn't
got
say
it
it wasn't
wrong.
fair. Trick question is fair. Yeah.
That goes against the very nature of the word trick to me.
Yeah. So, number...
I'm going to have to lock everybody's phones up when we get on this fucking podcast, son. You hear me?
No, it's
talking to myself. It's a fucking
It's
voice
number-
echo in here.
It's number 3 to me, right? Didn't you say you're number 3?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's number 3 to me. Never been kissed.
Yeah. Hey, there goes my voice. I was waiting for it.
Yeah. You almost cracked earlier, I think.
Honk.
Yeah.
Honk. He's a fucking goose over here.
Yeah. Talk to me, goose.
I got the mustache.
Co-starring Michael Vartan from Alias, one of my favorite shows.
Yeah. Yeah, you liked it, don't you?
That's all I got to say about it.
Cool. Moving along. Wedding Singer is my number 3.
Okay.
A quality romantic comedy that has Drew Barrymore in it. Not like the ones you had on your lists, which I consider to be unmentionable. But hey, whatever, different tastes. Whatever. Wedding Singer's one of those good Adam Sandler movies.
Mm-hmm.
Because, not a lot of those are all great. But it's still early enough. And it's a great movie. She's good in that. I like it.
I would hope you liked it. You put it on your list.
You're goddamn right I did.
What was her name? Or her name going to be after she got married?
Julia Gulia.
That's
Come on,
right.
you dumbass. How do you fucking not remember that?
It's been a while.
No excuses. That's a classic. That will make an appearance.
That fucking guy has a DeLorean and shit.
Yeah, that's badass.
What's his name? Doug? I don't even remember.
So, moving on to number 2.
Number 2.
Donnie Darko. She plays Karen, the teacher. And I just thought that she did a really good job as the teacher, like that young teacher that has a connection with the students and all that.
Oh, yeah, she does.
Okay. Alex over there getting sexual with this. No, I just think that she was...
Do you not want to get sexual with Drew Barrymore?
I mean...
Okay, then.
Who wouldn't?
I'd like to run some gynecological tests on Drew Barrymore.
Yeah, who wouldn't? I don't know why they'd be tests, though. I think it would be practice.
I mean, sure, whatever you want to call it. What's your number 2, Nick?
The Wedding Singer.
That's your number 2, huh?
I mean, it's certainly better than Never Been Kissed.
Yeah.
And with your other reasonings, I get your list. Okay.
But I've only seen so many Drew Barrymore movies, too, so, Never Been Kissed had to be on there, I guess.
This is where it gets controversial. My number 2 is Charlie's Angels.
I was wondering if anybody was going to put
This
that on
movie is so fucking underrated. We're going to watch this and cover it. because Bill Murray, Crispin Glover, Drew Barrymore, Lucy Liu,
I actually
and
have seen
Cameron
that,
Diaz, which is,
but
whatever.
I don't think I've seen it since it first came out, so I don't remember it well enough to
Also,
put it on
what's
this
the bad
list.
guy's name? Sam Rockwell is the fucking villain in that movie. That fucking movie is insane and holds up. Like, it has 90s aesthetics all over the music and shit, like the I think it might be early 2000s, I'm not
Cranberries
sure.
or something?
No, like fucking Prodigy, smack my bitch up, while fucking Crispin Glover's slick-haired, sniffing Drew Barrymore's hair and shit, you know? That movie holds up surprisingly well.
I thought about it, and I was like, I don't remember that movie well enough.
I have it on VHS.
Yeah.
So much I like that movie.
I'm down to watch it.
I like it a lot.
The first one I will give credit to. The first
I don't
one's an
even
underrated
remember
gem.
the second one at all.
The second one is hot flaming garbage that shouldn't.
Well, then they got rid of
fucking-
Bill Murray because he got into it with Lucy Liu or whatever. So
Bill
it's like-
Murray just didn't want to do a
it's like-
fucking other
Well,
movie.
yeah.
That's not. They got rid of Bill Murray. Bill Murray just said no. I'm not coming back.
Well, I meant
Bill Murray was
there
like a sequel.
Bill
to that?
Murray.
No, we're good.
Bill Murray does what the fuck he wants when he wants. That's how he's got the reputation he's got.
Yeah. But he makes that movie too. He's great in that movie, and
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore is great in that movie. So there you go. And she is Tom Green's in that movie as her boyfriend, who she was dating at the time. So, just lots of good cast and everything. I really like that movie. So,
All right.
And then she's in Freddy Got Fingered, I guess, a cameo.
You twats ready for number one?
Number one.
Number one, the fucking wedding singer. It's Julia. To me, like, that came out when I was in like junior high, and that's like still one of the few romantic comedies, and I'm like, yeah, I could watch that really kind of anytime it comes on. It's fucking hilarious. There's Freddy Krueger jokes, like Adam Sandler telling her, like, why don't you go back to the boiler room? Like, they have this fun flirtation where she's going back and forth and accidentally falls in love with this guy. It seems like a plausible story where it's not like too fucking good to be true, like so many rom-coms are like. And this one just kind of fun. The pacing's good. It's like the 80s stuff, and this is before 80s nostalgia was huge. So
Yeah, this is only like fucking 8 years after the 80s or whatever.
yeah,
Like,
and it works really well for
Yeah.
that reason, right? There's so many lines in that. They were just cones. They're just cones. And she's just great in that, right?
you're going to the mental institution.
Yeah. Cuckoo, cuckoo. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's my number one, just because that's one I can watch any old time.
Makes sense.
So Nickelips.
Duplex.
I live in one. What's your fucking point?
That's also my number one.
Nuh-uh.
Duplex.
Nuh-uh.
With Ben Stiller. Have you
like-
seen that motherfucking movie?
I don't think I've seen that
I was sitting
one
there thinking,
then.
I was like, have you guys, either one of you guys seen this?
Let me describe the plot to you real quick. Ben Stiller and Drew Barrymore are a couple. They are moving into a duplex. They're buying it. But they have to, there's some weird thing where there's a lady who lives upstairs they're buying it from, and they have to let her continue to live there until she dies.
An elderly...
She's really old and creepy.
Like Irish or something?
Yeah, and she keeps doing annoying shit. I can't remember. She pisses them off to the point where...
She's obviously trolling them too, though. I think.
she's fucking being a troll bitch to them. So they decide they're going to kill this bitch.
That's great.
That's pretty fucking cool. I need to see that.
So literally there's at one point where they're like trying to do things that can kill her without getting caught. And they're on a subway train and someone's coughing, and it's flu season. Someone's coughing, and then Ben Stiller and both her are like going into the cough and sniffing, trying to catch this shit. No phones in class. Jesus Christ, Walter. There's just some things you don't do on a podcast.
But I put it number one, not just because I love it, but I really like her in it more than anything else.
Yeah, it's great because she's trying to kill people in it, like an old woman.
And I just remembered, I think I was going to put 50 First Dates instead of Never Been Kissed, but I forgot.
Yeah, that's on my honorable mentions.
Yeah, I forgot about that after I made
Because it's decent. But if you look back on it, the plot's really just fucking weird.
Yeah.
But I think I'd rather, yeah.
To me, like, yeah, that's an honorable mention. E.T.'s an honorable mention. There's a few on, like, Charlie's Angels was for me as well. They're just some of those that, like, and it's just all personal preference, like, based on what I've seen the most, what I've enjoyed the most, right? What I've watched frequently.
And what you think fits on the list.
So Duplex seems like that's something I definitely need to check out. Was that an indie film? And, like, what year was that? Was that the early 2000s or something?
Mid-2000s, I want to say.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a small movie for sure.
Yeah, because Ben Stiller did a lot of weird indie shit kind of around after Meet the Parents and around that time, he was doing all kinds of shit.
2003.
Well, I mean, he got his he was doing Royal Tenenbaums in 2001. I mean, like, he's been doing that shit the whole time.
And I forgot about this. Danny DeVito's the director.
Oh, that's right.
And he's the narrator.
I forgot about that.
How the fuck did this go under my radar?
Have you seen movies that he's directed before?
Danny
like
DeVito's?
Death to Smoochie one.
Yeah, Death to Smoochie is fucking
I have
great.
that.
I love that movie.
Yeah, that's great too.
He's in it though too, isn't he?
Oh yeah, he's in. Yeah,
it's been a while since I watched that, but yeah, I like that.
Even though Edward Norton's kind of a fucking skeet towel based on everything I've heard about him, but
well, he's just an overdramatic asshole.
Yeah.
And he's like, he knows how good he is, and he's full of himself. Basically, is what I've heard. But it's like, whatever.
Oh, the old lady from Duplex died in 2015.
So they finally got the rest of the place to themselves.
Took them long enough. I'm assuming that by that statement that they don't actually kill her in the movie.
I don't know.
Actually,
I don't remember, to be honest.
We can put that under Another Man's Garbage because it's got 35% Rotten Tomatoes.
It's a black comedy though because they're trying to kill a fucking woman.
All right, let's cue that up into the list here. That needs to be something we watch soon. After January, after we do our Shadows of the Empire specials. Well, fuck, we might be able to throw that in January.
Yeah, we still got to review movies. So
we could do it.
We can handle it. We'll see what happens, baby.
Unless we're reviewing nothing but Star Wars movies that month.
Oh.
I don't know if we need to review Star Wars movies.
We do that enough.
Yeah, I don't think we need to review them individually. It's just kind of a whole thing now. Unless there's new stuff as it comes out, we could review it.
I was going to say, unless a new flick comes out, we're going to talk about it then. I don't see the need to backpedal. We already
Once we all watch Clone Wars, we could do like a retrospective and talk about it.
Yeah, we can do like a series review.
You know what I mean?
Don't have to do episode by episode.
That's in the future because I haven't watched all of that or close. So.
Yeah, when I finish Twin Peaks, I'm going to cover all the Star Wars cartoons.
Yeah, Alec and I have kind of been going through some of the Clone Wars right now, but
I left off in season 2. I need to pick up.
So, let's jump in to.
You know what I just watched?
Me pulling a can off some moron's fist?
Return of the Jedi.
Did you see Alien? When that creature was in that guy's stomach?
Oh my god!
You ever seen that really old movie? Empire Strikes Back?
Jesus, Tony.
Welcome to Retro Release Reviews.
Retro Release Reviews.
So the Rotten Tomato score wasn't less than 0?
It was 50%.
Okay.
As opposed to 47% for Iced Harvest.
Oh.
So this movie...
Together, they make one fucking good movie, man.
97?
That's bullshit. They're both good movies in their own right, so...
that's what I'm saying.
Fuck what people say.
Well, yeah. Life Aquatic has like a 53 on Rotten Tomatoes, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Life Aquatic is fucking amazing.
Yeah, we'll have to do a Wes Anderson streak sometime, too.
Oh, we should... Top 5 Wes Anderson flicks next week coming at you. There's enough of them out there.
Why don't we just rank them then?
Okay, we'll rank the Wes Anderson.
Because there's only like 9 or 10 or 11 maybe. I don't know what
okay.
he has.
Expect us to do that next week.
Make a note of that. I'm writing it now.
Writing it down too.
No.
But this movie is less than 0. This is another one that flew under the radar for me. I'd never seen. Came out in 1987. Robert Downey Jr. and all of his fucking drug-fueled glory, kind of right before he really lost his shit for about a decade, even longer. I think it was like the late 80s through the early 2000s. He really fucking struggled, in and out of jail, all kinds of bullshit, rehab, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Which is fucking crazy considering so much of his character in this movie paralleled what his really life turned into. And I think you mentioned an article where he mentioned that.
He really likes this movie still because of the character he played in it and everything like that. So, this is based on a novel that was written by Bret Easton Ellis, who's a writer who is probably my favorite writer, and he also wrote the book for American Psycho and Rules of Attraction, a couple other movies that have come out, which we're also going to cover that at some point, Rules of Attraction, because I don't think either of them have seen that, or at least Justin hasn't. I assume it's just probably slipped by you. Because that looks like a romantic comedy that would be shitty, and it has like James Van Der Beek. Like the poster art literally looks like Never Been Kissed or like fucking one of those teen fucking Clueless comedies and shit like that. Not even Clueless, but like...
I remember it coming out. I don't think I saw it, though.
But the movie opens up with a woman being raped, so it's like, it's fucked up and weird, you know what I mean? Like, it's not...
Not a feel-good
Not a feel-good
comedy? No,
there's suicide, and it's a movie like that.
Oh, okay.
It's a dark movie like this.
All right, well, that's fair.
But,
So this movie has Robert Downey Jr. starring as Julian Wells. Basically, he's an affluent kid in California, and his friends are Jami Gertz is Blair, and James Spader plays a kid named Rip, and Andrew McCarthy plays Clay Easton. So, like, that's your core group of characters in this flick. For seeing it for the first time, it's a really good movie. Really has those 80s vibes.
Yes.
If you've ever seen the movie Take Me Home Tonight, that's obviously more of a straightforward comedy, coming-of-age type of a story, but there's some stuff in that movie that are heavily influenced by this movie. So if you watch that, you'll see some parallels pop up throughout the course of this movie, which is really fun because I really like Take Me Home.
It's basically like the rich kid scene in Hollywood and LA and shit like that. That is in both of those movies. I think that's why they feel so similar and stuff like that. They probably watched this. A lot of the looks, the feel, like the clothing looks like the same. There's a lot of weird shit in here, like, you know, Brad Pitt having a fucking extra role in it.
Yeah, and then Anthony Kiedis and God damn it, Flea also have a cameo somewhere. There's musicians in this movie, so just kind of random stuff for the signs of the times. And then what's hilarious about this movie is that, like, Rip kind of plays the villain, but like Robert Downey Jr., his character Julian kind of makes him the villain because he's buying drugs from him, which is hilarious because later on, that's what happens in Iron Man. He makes the villain, Ultron. So to see these two like be here, you're like, oh man, like there's some parallels there.
If you want to watch Ultron make Iron Man suck a dude's dick for money, this is your movie.
Yes, pretty much.
Pretty dark.
Yeah, and the book, apparently this is, again, like American Psycho. It's much more graphic and crazy in detail with that.
I'm not going to go into super, like, in-depth details about how the book is different from the movie, but I'll give you a little pointers here. Like, Clay is arguably the main character of the movie. It's seen through his perspective. The book jumps around a little bit more, but I would still say Clay is the main character. But in the book, he does not give as much of any fucks as he does in the movie, at least until the end when he realizes some fucked up shit and he tries to do some things. But in the movie or the book, he's doing coke the whole book. He's buying drugs from Rip the book.
So he's like a functioning drug addict.
Yes, and he's bisexual in it, so he's also sleeping with dudes. Like, one of the times he wakes up and is like talking about how he's sniffing coke after he just woke up with this dude's bed that he was hanging out with after the party.
Is he still like madly in love with what's her name in the book? Or?
Yes, but no. But his character's more of a. You've never read American Psycho, I don't presume, but it's a lot more close to that in tone of like the characters. He's not as good of a person. He does not give as much of a fuck about anything in the book. He's like drugs and sex, although I really like her.
Yeah, which I think that's why Bret Easton Ellis really didn't like this movie to begin with.
Yeah, he also criticized like Jami Gertz's performance as, what's her fucking name? Blair. And I think it's
fair.
Might even be Claire in the book or something, you know, like they're different slightly, just like American Psycho is.
But it's interesting to see Jami Gertz in this, right? Because for me, like, obviously she's in The Lost Boys, has very minimal dialogue in there. And then
this is like the same year as Lost Boys, and she's way more in the movie.
Yeah, and then obviously Twister, she has a huge role in, but like she's kind of a
elusive.
Well, she's got that southern accent, like she really gets into the role, right? So it's interesting to see someone that's pretty diverse like that to not have a bigger career than she's really had.
Yeah.
And I think that's mostly by choice for her. It's just kind of when she's felt like getting out and looking for a role.
The book also has Clay's family in it, so like his sisters and mom and dad are in it a little bit more and stuff like that. And it just goes in to show you how superficial they all are and stuff like that. Just like how American Psycho does. Like the thing in American Psycho, all the businessmen don't know each other's names basically, and that's like a big point in the books. Like every time he meets a new character, or you're like not even meets him, he'll just be like, all right, so I was going to the restaurant here and I met up with Paul and he was wearing a paragraph. Now it's a paragraph about everything that guy's wearing because they're so superficial. And it's not even the guy's right name. He doesn't even know the guy's name. He's mistaking him for someone else because he's so distracted by his clothes because they're so superficial. There's lots of stuff like that in the book too, where it's like skimming over stuff and you have to like read into it and
yeah, well, it's Bret Easton Ellis, so you have to really understand what he's trying to say because he's really, as dark and as grim as his books can be, he's really doing a lot of social commentary on the state of things. So that's the one thing in this movie I would say that feels like it's kind of left out is the social commentary on there, right? But at the same time, like, they were bold enough to kill off the character. Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr.'s character fucking dies at the end. And it feels appropriate for the movie, right? And you feel bad a little bit, but not a whole lot, because it's just like the tragic American story of a drug overdose and the fact that, Julian tries to go to his parents for help, or his dad, I guess his mom. And you find out at the end that his mom had died when he was like a child, and he was 5 years old, I think is what they said.
Oh, I missed that.
And so the key piece to me watching this is that like all the fucking trauma and all the bullshit that Julian gets himself into is like his sad fucking attempts at coping mechanisms for this. And I think the book would probably demonstrate that a little bit better than this, just because the movie doesn't really talk about that until the very end. And then you'd almost need to rewatch it and see how that influences Julian throughout the movie.
I'm pretty sure the book is first person with Clay. And so you're in his head throughout the book, but I'd have to give it another read. I've read that book at least twice. I have like I don't think it's a first edition, but it's like a paperback version of it that's really old.
Does he die at the end similarly?
I can't remember. What I do remember from the end is Rip has, I think in his little apartment area, they have like a 13-year-old girl or something tied up to a bed that they're doing fucked up shit to. And Clay finally realizes that he's been so disconnected and desensitized to sex and violence and drugs and shit. And he's like, what the fuck are you guys doing here? Like, what the fuck? I think he finally comes to his senses with some of the shit that Rick is doing.
Kind of like in the movie when the girl like dumps the cocaine down the drain.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same kind of moment for her.
Yeah, but just way more aggressive in the book.
Right.
Yeah, and some of the things that are interesting in this, right, is like Robert Downey Jr. legit looks like shit throughout the whole course of this movie, which kind of parallels because he was really fucking high when they shot a lot of this, but like just the way his mouth is all crusted over from fucking doing drugs the whole time, everything else, like that all seems very authentic, like him being really sick, coming off his high near the end was authentic, right? And then I guess there's a little, if you know, what do they say the cause of death was in the book? Because they don't exactly say what it was in the movie, but
I'd have to reread it again. I think
Wikipedia claims, because I was just doing some general research, Wikipedia claims that he dies of heart failure at the end. So I didn't know if that was something that was mentioned in the book versus just an overdose or what.
That's what I assumed it was in the movie.
Yeah, I'd have to reread it. What we should do is start like another segment called like Book Club, where we read the book and review the movie.
Oprah's Book Club. And
do that with American Psycho, Less Than Zero, like Fight Club, fun shit.
Yeah.
That's like really, like Fight Club's an easy, fun fucking read. You could read that in a day.
I'm actually kind of interested to read the Ice Harvest book, so.
Yeah, I mean, there's another one.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I think that's something we should consider.
Rum Punch is Jackie Brown. I've never read that.
Oh, yeah.
I'd love to read that.
Based off a book,
that's
isn't
what
it?
the book's called?
Yeah, Rum Punch. That would have been a cool movie title. I mean, But hey. But he changed the character. She's not black in the book, I don't think, which is really cool.
Oh,
I think that he did that like
badass,
Pam Grier, Fuck yeah, dude.
She's so on point in that. But that's a whole other
That's the most underrated Tarantino movie there is. Not my favorite still, but it's fucking awesome.
I'm not sure if I've sat and watched that one from start to finish.
Damn.
That'd be the only Tarantino movie I haven't.
So
I love Michael Keaton in that, and actually,
Well, we can ramble on that in a minute, but let's
Oh, wait. I got to do a quick Google search. Keep talking about this.
So what I was going to say is some of the interesting parts in this, once Rip is making Julian actually be a prostitute and like start paying off his debt of $50,000, like you kind of see that, and Bill's obviously his muscle, like kind of the enforcer of this shit. And it's interesting because at one point in time, Julian goes and says, "Hey, I'm done, man. I got to get clean and sober." And he's like, "You can't," and Rip's like, "You can't fucking talk to me like that. You owe me money." And, this is basically the last act, the downfall of gets him fucking super high. Like, Rip basically just walks out of the room and Bill just fucking starts lighting up the pipe, fucking just tempting him, knowing him he can't refuse, right? And so he just, at that point, like, it's all going downhill from there.
Yeah. They're definitely doing that. That's exactly what you were saying that scene is doing. He's not even going to smoke it himself. He's just literally heating it up so he'll smoke it.
Yeah.
And he knows he won't be able to resist.
Yep, yeah, because I don't think you see Bill use any drugs in this movie the whole time. Or Rip, you see do cocaine maybe once or twice, right?
I don't know. I don't remember.
But it's interesting, like, just how blatant the drug use is in this movie, right?
It's all like American Psycho.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It tells the story, but you also see the downfall of somebody, right? So I thought Robert Downey Jr. is great in this, obviously. Yeah. Andrew McCarthy's really good. And then Jami Gertz is okay. I mean, she does fine. She tells the role.
Okay, we were just talking about Jackie Brown.
Yep.
Guess who's also in Jackie Brown?
Andrew McCarthy.
No. Michael Bowen. Bill.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Bill's in Jackie Brown as the cop opposite of Michael Keaton. And that's why I just remembered that when I pictured Michael Keaton's face, and then I was like, who is the cop next to him?
Yep, he's in several Tarantino flicks, so.
There you go. Anyway, I just had to confirm that in my head because I was like, am I mistaking that?
But right before, Bill gets Julian high for that last time, Rip basically just ridicules Julian and basically says, "You're a fucking junkie, man. Like, there's no fucking hope for you. You're basically my bitch."
Yeah.
And
you get, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it explicitly says it in the book, but you definitely get the vibes when he's touching all over Julian that he's used him for sex himself.
Yes, that's very implied in there. Like, at the time of the this movie was made, Hollywood was not nearly as comfortable with bisexuality and gay stuff like that at the time.
Well, I don't even know if Julian's character is supposed to be bisexual. He might just be forced into it because of the drugs.
They wrote Julian gives good head on the wall. So
yeah, when they broke into
knew from experience.
When they broke into Blair's place and fucking trashed it.
The fucking place.
Yeah, so that movie's pretty dark in just the way it shows the downfall. And then again, it doesn't have the happy ending. It tells the story that was intended to be told, I guess. So,
yeah, then Bill just walk into their apartment when they were fucking at one point.
After they'd fucked, I think.
Well, yeah, he walks in there and just like,
hi.
Yeah, but that was when Clay and Blair
Julian?
were fucking, and then they're looking for Julian.
He's like, "You're Blair. I don't know who you are."
Yeah, which should
see
be
around.
Yeah,
it was creepy as fuck. Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like, but they've all had that relationship. Clearly, Blair's been getting her coke from him too and shit. So it's like just one of those things where it's all just fucking out of control.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they all buy their coke from Rip, but they all don't owe him $50,000.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they know that he was fucking Blair at one point and staying there, so he shows up there.
Yeah, no, it's a good movie. It's definitely a little bit depressing on the down note. Like, Alec and I watched these back to back last night, and between, like, Ice Harvest kind of has the happy ending, but like the thing in Ice Harvest that really kind of bummed me out at the end was like,
he didn't even get his dick wet.
No, not even that. I mean, maybe that's what you thought, but I was just thinking, like, that motherfucker's just gonna abandon his kids and never see him again over this money, and I'm like, that's fucked up. Kind of pissed me off.
I watched them back to back last night too. I started with Less Than Zero.
When you think about it that way, that's pretty fucking dark ending.
I know. That's why after watching both of these, I was like, man, I couldn't just fucking walk away from my kids for $2 million. Fuck that. No thanks. No amount of money's gonna make me leave. Some bullshit. I mean, because money doesn't buy happiness. Money buys you things to try to cope with your fucking unhappiness, but it doesn't buy you happiness.
Money would buy me substantial happiness.
I wonder what kind of kind of custody he had, though. If you ever really saw him.
Enough money buys
Well,
time.
there's a difference between being like filthy rich and there's a between being comfortable to live an enjoyable life, right? I get that. But I'm just saying that, like, how many fucking rich, miserable assholes do you come across that are just so fucking self-entitled they're disillusioned from the whole fucking world? Like, look at Jeff Bezos. Like, there's a guy right there that should take a gun and blow his fucking brains out because he's a fucking trash human.
I don't know if we can say that on YouTube.
Yes, you can.
Well, we just did.
That motherfucker has so much money and
You
just
know, if he
hoards
actually
his
did
wealth.
that, you would. I think there's the law now that you'd be like guilty or something. Like
Why? Because they're a billionaire committed suicide?
Oh, maybe it's if you tell someone to do it.
Yeah, I'm not telling him to do it. I'd say I'd just be happy if he did because he's a trash
It's
human.
not like we're in his DMs. You should kill yourself.
No, he's fucking... any human that's willing to hoard that much fucking wealth and then look at the amount of money he made this year and just basically say, fuck humanity, he's a trash human being.
He's not particularly philanthropic.
Eat the rich.
either,
I don't
guess.
order
No.
anything from Amazon.
No, and look at what his... I mean, even his ex-wife left his ass, and she's more philanthropic than he ever was, and he has way more money than her, even just after this year. So I
don't
can
order
say
from
that.
Amazon very much.
I can say that, and I don't fucking... I'm gonna sleep fine tonight saying that, because when you're a trash human that fucking hoards wealth, fuck you.
Yeah, pretty much.
I don't have any sympathy for anything bad that happens to you in this life. And in fact, while I'm on my rant right here, the only thing that makes me really wish there was a hell or a heaven is so people like him could get fucking butt raped by Satan in hell, South Park style, till the end of time.
You get the pineapple shoved up your ass.
I was about to say that.
But I don't believe any
Little
of that.
Dicky.
I don't believe any of that. So
we'll just have to shove a pineapple up his ass while he's alive.
at his funeral, or I can at least go set one on his grave someday.
Yeah.
People know what I'm talking about.
Put a donut on top of it, they'll get it.
Sorry, we got a little dark and depressing here at the end of these movies. I was like thinking of people dying and having miserable experiences, and I just thought Bezos should be on top of that list.
Yeah, I like a lot of fucked up and depressing movies. I can't help it. I've liked this movie for a while. I like the book. If you haven't seen it, if you like that style of book, maybe read it, maybe watch the movie.
Join our book club.
Basically.
Yeah.
I'm down to read.
Join the book club. So get in our comments on social media. Let us know what your top 5 Drew Barrymore flicks are. Let us know if you have a book movie combo you would like us to review.
Please give us ideas for top 5s.
Yeah, what do you want to hear for top 5s?
Subscribe on our YouTube. Share the videos if you feel like it. Whatever. Maybe not. Maybe share the podcast. Maybe not. Give us a review on iTunes or Apple Podcast if you use it. Make sure to like our stuff. Follow us on Instagram if you haven't already. We also have a TikTok now, so follow us there. It's just at Frog Bros Podcast on both Instagram and TikTok. Our Twitter is at bros_frog. So
you can shit talk us in the YouTube comments and we won't delete it.
Maybe.
But I'm going to tell you this right now. Talk whatever kind of shit you want if it makes you happy, but there's nothing that you can say about me that I can't say worse about myself about. So once I've gotten to my point about that, like, you can't win. You can't beat the master trash talker about that. Like,
yeah, say whatever you want just as long as you're comfortable with it being in my suicide letter.
Yeah, when I mention you specifically.
Yeah, when I write a letter to your mom telling her why I killed myself and it was because of you.
You're liable.
You'll know why.
If he kills himself.
Yeah.
That's some tasty RC Cola.
Yeah, I wish it was RC Cola. Sponsor us. And it will be.
Send us a lifetime supply of RC Cola.
Pretty much.
I was just about to do like the
I'll
fucking
put it in my rum.
Willy Wonka bit. 2? How many Willy Wonka balls have you opened? 2? I can't calculate just 2. Well, the podcast just died, so I guess we're fucking ending it because
we don't really have anything else this week. It's kind of a short week. We've done 3 episodes in a week's time right now at this point, from one week to the next. So
yeah.
We're looking to get going with the Shadows of the Empire stuff next week. Yay. It's Alec's birthday month. He shares a birthday with the state of Kansas. I would argue that I like Alec better than the state of Kansas, especially since they're so
that's something we didn't mention.
Regressed in their
Ice
way of
Harvest
thinking.
takes place in Kansas.
Wichita. people train don't run out of Wichita.
What is the thing he says?
Run out of
Wichita
Stokeville.
Falls, and so falls Wichita Falls, or some shit.
They get backed over by that fucking.
Which is
dude
interesting
in
because
the
Wichita
RV.
Falls is in Texas, so what's the significance of this?
As Wichita Falls, so falls Wichita Falls. That's what it is. Hey.
Yes. And you find out he's the asshole that's been writing that the entire movie because they keep seeing it around town.
Yeah.
So he's writing his own little limerick around town. Or
Which
is it a
it's
haiku?
not his, it's somebody else's poetry shit.
Oh.
So we kick off the book club with Shadows of the Empire. We could. Right?
There's not a movie for that, so no.
Oh, it has to
I'm
have
not
the
talking
movie
about just doing a
connection?
book club. I'm talking about pairing movies with books.
But
We'll do books
what
as
if we've
well
already
sometimes, but only if they're relevant
What
to
if
our
we've already
specific.
reviewed the movie in a previous episode? Can we still do the book?
Well, we could just kind of compare and contrast, like what's
Ah,
different.
yes, good.
I mean, that'll be the whole point of the segment is to compare what really works for the movie. You know, because you're always going to make changes for a live action. So what works well in the adaptation for live, and like what do you really miss character development wise?
We still compare the Shadows of the Empire novel to the comic and the game, and
You can't compare because they're all different parts of the story.
Yeah, it's a multimedia
they
event.
don't overlap
man.
at all.
Hardly.
No,
and they're
not-
part
they're
of
not
the same
intended to.
thing.
I thought
so
they had. I thought like the novel like covered everything.
No, the novel is a very specific
you had to
piece
do
of the
it.
story.
You literally had to get all of it to get the whole story. That's why it's a crazy interesting.
I read the comic back
thing.
in the day, but I didn't read the novel.
Yeah, I'm in the middle of the
played the shit out of the game.
I'm in the middle of the comic right now. I played the game. I've read the book before, but I'm going to reread the book.
I need to borrow.
What, the comic?
I need to borrow the comic and the book.
And the book.
Because my book is not even here.
I'll probably finish it tonight. It's only like 4 or 6 issues or something, so it reads pretty quick. So, if you're going to tag along and join that adventure, be looking for a secondhand copy of Shadows of the Empire. You can get those really cheap.
eBay, you can get one for less than $5.
Yeah, paperback edition or hardback. If you're going to buy it on eBay, get the fucking hardcover edition.
I didn't buy the hardcover edition. I bought a $5 fucking paperback one shipped.
Oh, I think that's what I paid for a hardcover edition. And then there's also another book called The Making of Shadows of the Empire, which kind of delves into the story. So
we have a lot of different materials on it and stuff to show off and toy lines to discuss and marketing.
I might get an ebook of it if that's an option.
They do. That's how I first read it.
I'd probably do that, yeah.
It reads easy, pretty quick on your phone. Or shit, you might even be able to do an audiobook if that's what you're into.
Oh,
Yeah,
I might be able to
listen to
find
it
that
at
on
work,
YouTube
yeah.
even, because I've almost bought the Shadows of the Empire audiobook cassette tapes, but I never found a complete one on eBay. I really want to add that to my collection, though. It'd be sick. I do have the Jurassic Park original audiobook from the 90s
So
on cassette tape.
So we're starting this next week?
Potentially, yes.
Okay.
It's
Yep.
January, isn't it?
Yep.
So we'll kind of break it down. We'll try to get a schedule posted if you're trying to read along, because there's going to be some different things we talk about. It won't be the entire episode, so we'll still cover other stuff.
We're also going to be doing videos on YouTube and shit, and
Is this our
hopefully, ideally, we'll get some streaming going of the game by the end of the month, but we'll see what happens. We're looking into getting some of that kind of fun stuff going. So.
Yeah. So we look forward to Shadows of the Empire, getting more into the lore of a place far, far away.
So do us a favor and, try to share our YouTube or something around. We're at 90 subscribers. We want to get to 100 before we get to 1,000, and then 10,000 and 100,000 and 1 million.
Then I think you get your own URL. Right?
Exactly. And 10 more subscribers will get our own URL. So, and it will be Alec's Gaping Hole. YouTube.com/Alec's Gaping Holes.
Pretty much. There's not going to be much not to be gaping there.
Oh yeah. So, have a good night. Do what you're gonna do.
Happy New Year.
Good morning. Good afternoon. Goodbye. Well, hi, Mark.
Take care now.
Bye-bye.
These are my dinner guests, the Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, the Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. These are my dinner guests, Frog Brothers. Frog Brothers. Frog.
Shut this off. Shut these all off.